Hey, hey, hey. Good afternoon. What's going on? If you want to skip ahead 30 seconds, if you're watching this after the live stream, I'm just going to get all the chat set up here. The usual fun stuff. So today there was a posting on the Winnipeg Facebook comic group from this place in Calgary, Dark Phoenix. And I guess they do kind of a traveling show to some degree. They said that they have about 80,000 books that they take out for these small shows and just do the whole show themselves. They don't come as part of, or at least I don't remember them coming. Hey, Rasa, how's it going? At least I don't remember them coming as part of our big convention here. But now that our C4, I think I've talked about this before, our big C4 convention is canceled for this year. So I don't know if they were kind of a participant of that and they decided, screw it, we'll just do this traveling show and just have a show ourselves. So they had it at a hotel near us, about 80,000 comics, most of them $2 a pop. There was some that was priced, and then they had hardcovers and graphic novels all for $10. So I went and dug through the bins. Excuse me, sorry. I don't have any water here either. I went and had a dig through the bins. They started at 10. They were only going till 3. Boy, I got there about 10:30. I was probably digging for about 2 hours. I didn't go through all 80,000 books, but I went through. They kind of had the comics on two sides. One was alphabetized, and then the other side, a row of long boxes. I wish I would have taken a photo. Was just random and all mixed up and things like that. So I looked through the ones that were all just a hodgepodge. I found some great stuff. It's always the thing for me. There was a few people there that I knew that I just ended up talking to briefly as we were digging. And the kind of common theme was that they felt that some of the books were overpriced. And I didn't look. They had another section where they had CGC slab books and kind of higher grade and key issues. They had a very small section there that they said were 20% off. I didn't look in there whatsoever. I that's not what I was there for. I was going through the back issue bins. So I don't know what the prices were like there. I heard that the prices were a little steep. It's just funny listening to people talk about these shows that come in and just kind of gripe about it. I mean, because for me, it's always been the thing. Somebody brought up the Montreal people that come to C4, who I always hear bad things about. I've had nothing but good luck with them. And it's the same with this one. I guess it's probably because the stuff I'm looking for, I'm not looking for the key books, so I don't really focus on those prices. Uh, as I've said before about the Montreal one, I feel the same thing about this Calgary Dark Phoenix. It's a whole collection of books that I haven't seen before. Chances are there's going to be some stuff in those bins that I can't find locally, that I've exhausted my local connections to them for the most part, and I haven't come across these books. So my other option is to go to Doug Salipa's Comic World online or order online, try to find things from maybe mycomicshop.com. And then even if I find them cheap, I've got to deal with shipping. The other beautiful thing about this show today was if you paid in cash, there was no tax. So that was great. So I blew my budget and I found a really, really nice stack of stuff. I'm excellent, Rasa. How the heck are you doing? It's been busy. Work has been picking up. But other than that, things are great. You know, I went away to Brandon last weekend for the gaming convention and the Modular Synth Festival there. And that was fun. Maybe I'll do a chat about that at some point. Um, Otherwise, everything is fantastic. So when I was looking through the graphic novels and hardcovers, for the most part, there wasn't anything that was really blowing my mind. Again, it's always, there was some boxes where all these books were laid out on the side. Paulo Costa, how are you? Um, those were the boxes that I was really most interested in. There was a lot of unique stuff in there. I only picked up one hardcover. all of the graphic novels and things, I mean, $10 isn't a horrible price, but some of them you can buy them new for 15 bucks, you know, 14.99. So it wasn't a huge discount for me. The one that I did pick up though is one that I've been thinking about getting for quite a while. It's the oddly compelling art of Denis Kitchen with an introduction by Neil Gaiman. Um, nice thick hardcover, cover priced 35 bucks US. I've never seen this locally, so for 10 bucks, I jumped on this one. I'm really excited about this one. I really like Kitchen's art. Um, I'll just kind of open it up to a few pages here for you. I really like his art style a lot. I don't know much about him. Um, you know, I know how influential Kitchen Sink has been to my comic reading life. So this will be a really, really cool read. Very excited about this for 10 bucks. So I hit the graphic novel section first. There we go. Look at that snarf. That's awesome. I've got that issue as well. I should have pulled it out of the boxes before this. I started looking at the graphic novels and stuff first just to kind of get that out of the way. I didn't dig into them too much because, like I said, it was the comics themselves that I was really looking forward to diving into. So where do you start? I started at one end and I went to the other, you know, especially once I discovered after kind of quickly leaping through a couple of boxes. That's that weird trips. After leafing through a couple of boxes, that the ones I was going through were going to be extremely random and they weren't going to be alphabetized and they weren't going to be in any sort of order. So I just started digging and went from one end to the other. And then I started going through like the alphabetized side, but I didn't last very long. There was just a couple of things I looked for. And like I said, for the most part, anything that wasn't priced was 2 bucks. There were some things that were priced. There was a few things I put back that even though I really wanted them, even at a $5 price tag, it was kind of, I'd rather try to get a stack of stuff for 2 bucks a piece, and then keep hunting for those ones that were a little heavily priced. So the first stack we'll talk about, because we'll just get it out of the way. Of course, I found some Eclipse Comics titles. Of course I did. I already have this issue, but the issue that I have, I don't think has the 3D glasses. So there was a few copies of this one there. So I picked up the Scout 3D issue. Glasses intact with Eclipse logo on it and everything. Let's see if maybe I can set myself up over here. There we go, that works. Only, again, because I'm into this manga Eclipse, I was hoping to find more. I only found a single issue of Area 88, number 9, but, you know, one off the list. I don't think I have this issue of Appleseed. This is 4 of 4, but if I do, I've got it again. I did have my app with me, but there was a couple of things as I was going, and the time was kind of getting closer to me needing to get the hell out of there. I just threw it in the stack. I have the second issue of this. It's a 3D tour, Joe Kubert. They had a couple of copies of this one. There was a couple that were priced at 5 bucks a piece. This one had no price on it, so I swapped it. It doesn't have the glasses in it, but that's okay. I do have extra glasses, but I'm looking forward to this. I do love the 3D comics. There's a few more in the stack there that I found as well. They had the Eclipse Comics Three Stooges 3D, 2 of the issues, I think 1 and 2. I don't know if there was 3 of them or 4 of them. Anyway, they had 2 of the issues, but they were a couple of the $5 each one, so I let those go. Lightly kicking myself because I've never seen those before, and those are definitely going to be one that I'll need to order online. This is number 6 of Lost Planet. I think it's the last one of this 6-issue miniseries that I need. So that's very cool. How's the reading experience with 3D? It's really hit and miss, Rasa. Sometimes it's phenomenal, and sometimes it's really, really difficult. If you go back in my videos, I think I did one talking about 3D comics, and there was the Merlin the Magician one, and I can't remember the title of it off the top of my head. That one was a fantastic read. I thought it was probably the best 3D comic that I've read so far. The other ones, I enjoy them. It's more for me, more for the visuals. It's not always easy to kind of read the story, um, but I mean, it's not horrible. Why do a 4-issue miniseries when the manga was supposed to be very decompressed? I'm assuming you're talking about Appleseed there, Paulo Costa. I don't know much about the series at all. I think this might have been one from Eclipse where they put out a few mini series to cover the books. I don't know how far into the books they got. I don't honestly know much about Appleseed in general. It's one of those titles that I've always heard about, and I think I saw a movie many, many, many years ago. But I couldn't tell you much more than that, unfortunately. I haven't really done any digging into that title specifically. Another one that I'm pretty sure I don't have, it wasn't in my app, so I grabbed it. Mr. Monster. There was a ton of Mr. Monster titles across a couple of publishers, and it's sometimes hard to keep track and sometimes hard to find them within the CLZ app. So I'm pretty sure I don't have this one. I didn't recognize the cover, so I grabbed it. A couple of issues of the series The Masked Man. Not one that I'm super keen to dig into, but I don't often see it, so I figured I'll pick them up. This is number 11, and then number 12. A little bit of a spirit-ish looking cover there. One I'm kind of excited about for one specific reason, which we'll talk about when we get to it. I found a few issues of the title Strike. Again, not a title I'm super excited to read or anything. I have the first 3 already, and then I got number 4, 5, and 6. So that's number 4. And the reason I was excited to find these in the cheap bins is for issue number 6, which I think Earl Grey had mentioned to me as well, too, asking if I had this issue. This one has like they've all got backup stories. This one has a backup story by Daniel Clowes, and all of the backup stories claim that they're reprinted from All Thrills comics from the 1940s. So in this, you get a backup story done by Clowes. I'm assuming written by Clowes as well too, because he doesn't even sign his name. I can't read the signature. Johnny something or other. It almost looks like Fingerlings or something. But so there you go, a little bit of Dan Clowes backup story in Strike from Eclipse Comics. So number 6, they've talked about it on the Cartoonist Kayfabe channel as well too, which is where I first heard about him doing a backup story in this. So I'm glad to find that issue number 6. Again, I don't know how well those are very low. The Masked Man, Strike, those sort of titles are pretty low on my wanting to read pile when it comes to Eclipse Comics. I'm probably going to have to struggle through those titles to some degree as I work through the whole publication. So then to tie those both together, here's Strike versus Sergeant Strike. Looks like a number 1. I don't know if it was just a one-off or if there was a couple. Yeah, no backup stories in this one. I mean, it's not the art doesn't look horrible, but it's just not something that I'm chomping at the bit to get into. A few issues of Mai the Psychic Girl. Another, I believe this was the other first manga that Eclipse started putting out along with Viz when they started diving into this market. So issue number 1 there, issue number 6, number 7, and then number 9. And Paulo, I think you might have mentioned this one to me. I can't believe I found it. I think it was the only issue that Eclipse Comics did of Spaced, but lo and behold, it was in the boxes for $2. At the back, they have a listing of all the previous issues with sold out written under most of them. Well, written under 4 of them anyway, 4 out of the 9. So, and it's kind of underground comic size. Put it beside just a regular comics, just a bit wider than a regular book. So it really reminds me of kind of undergrounds. And the art is nothing to write home about on the inside, but I don't know, interesting, unique little title there. So they're Spaced. I think that might have been one of the first. Anyway, let's not even go down that road. Speaking of one of the first, I found this locally. This wasn't from the show. I found Saber, the graphic novel, the Eclipse graphic novel. This is the 10th anniversary edition of it. So that was kind of cool to find in the city here. Just as an aside while we're talking about that. And then the rest of the pile is just a nice mix of stuff. Starting off with kind of a heavy hitter for me. I've never seen these individual issues around of Joe Matt's Peep Show. Not once in all my years of digging have I come across these individuals. I've got a collection of Peep Show, but very, very excited to find a couple of the issues. Kind of the same size as Chester Brown's Ed the Happy Clown. And there's a look at the interiors. I think in the reprints, they just reprint them all in black and white. I don't think there's any color in the reprints, but now I don't know. I'd have to look at the book again. But there's Joe and Seth right there. So that's super exciting. So that was issue number 11 and issue number 12. Really, really great. I was really hoping when I came across these in the bin, I was holding my breath, hoping that there would be more. No luck, though. A single issue of Golgo 13 on that. What the heck is that manga show called again? I can't remember. Anyway, there is an episode where they talk about the creator of Takao Saito from Golgo 13, and they show him drawing the characters. This reproduction is very strange looking. It looks like it's been Xeroxed. You got the 20th anniversary edition of Saber pocket size. That's awesome. Looks like it's just been photocopied and then a cover stapled onto it. I've never read any Golgo 13. I know the series. There was a series of movies with I think Sonny Chiba, or was there a series of movies, or was there only one movie? Anyway, I'm pretty sure it was a Sonny Chiba movie back in the day. So that's kind of cool to get my hands on that. From Hard Boiled Comics, I'm wondering if this is a. Oh yeah, it's Gary Groth and Thompson. So I was just gonna say, I'm imagining this is a Fantagraphics. Oh, look at that! It has Fantagraphics ad on the back. Torpedo issue doesn't say, but it does say it features 3 new stories never before published in English. And on the interior, it says a note from the publishers. Regrettably, this is the final issue of Torpedo. The culprit: low sales. And as a special treat, however, this issue contains 3 stories which appear here in English for the very first time. Yeah, so there you go. That was a nice find. They had some really interesting stuff. All of a sudden, you'll see in this, you're running through the usual X-Men comics and Teen Titans and all that other stuff, and then buried in the middle of that stack, you're finding stuff from Fantagraphics and Eros Comics and all sorts of places. So this is an exciting one for me. This is going to be a fun one. And then speaking of Eros Comics, I got a small stack. They had quite a few of them. These are the ones that jumped out at me. Mary Fleener, first of all, Nipples and Tum Tum. Pretty graphic on the inside. The second most famous Spanish comic in the world, writer Sanchez Abuli, was in Portugal 3 weeks ago. He signed my IDW edition, Torpedo Volume 1. That's amazing, Paulo. That's really, really great. Yeah, whatever. It's the Comic Crack channel. So, yeah, I mean, these Eros comics in general are pretty graphic. but you get more of a sense of it there. And I've always kind of liked Mary Fleener's art. I don't have a lot of her stuff, but I couldn't pass this one up. And then another one that I'm hoping, Paolo, since you're here, you'll be able to tell me something about. It's Betty by the Hour. Trio, Micus, and Burnett. And it looks like it's strips taken from where, I'm not really sure. I don't have the first issue. I found 5 of them starting on issue number 2, and there's not much of a write-up. Yeah, there's not much of a write-up of where these come from. And again, Eros Comics was a subsidiary of Fantagraphics as well, too, just putting out some real adult material. It's a line that I don't find when I'm out there digging in back issue bins, even in 50-cent bins, in the deepest, darkest basements. You never really come across a stack of Eros Comics titles. People probably have them hidden away. So that's issue number 2. So it was kind of cool to see a bunch of them. These were just the few that I picked up. I think issue number 3. Yeah, issue number 3 with a back cover that I won't show. Issue number 4. Number 5. And finally, I think this is number 8. Yes, issue number 8. So that's cool. I'm looking forward to digging into these, see what this is about. The thing when you get these Eros comics, they always have a here we go. Those stories might have been produced by the Spanish studios that did stories for Warren magazine. Okay, cool. The advertisements in the back for collecting back issues of Eros is always something that I flip through. I think in some of the issues of Heavy Metal, they have ads for Eros comics as well too. And there's a lot of stuff that's like, man, I'd love to see what the hell that's about. It's a bunch of Wally Wood stuff, Ramba, Liz and Beth. I think I have a couple issues of that. The box, I think I have a couple issues of that as well. That Rez, Butterscotch, Burned Land, Big Top. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, the Frank Thorne stuff I have as well too. Carlos Trio is a famous Argentinian artist. Jordi Burnett is from Spain. He was actually the regular artist on Torpedo. There you go. See, I figured. I didn't sit and look, but there's a definite style similarity there. I'm still missing one issue of this. I was hoping to find it. This is the Roots of the Swamp Thing, the reprints of the old Swamp Thing stuff. So this one there's the write-up of what's contained in this particular issue. I think I'm only missing issue number 2 now. So that's very cool, and there's the back cover of that one there. Yeah, I was really hoping to find the last one as well. Part 4 of 5. This was in a bag and a board. I grabbed it because look at that cover. It has the best of both worlds. Looks like some manga influence, possibly Canadian, very 80s independent looking. And it doesn't look too bad on the inside. It's a very interesting mix of kind of 80s indie line work, but still manga as well, but not kind of the classic manga that I would say. It looks like if Japan had an indie boom in manga, this would be something that appeared there. I don't know anything about this title. I don't know anything about this creator. I bought it because it was $2. So there you go. It's a nice thick issue as well too. That's called Tigers of Terra, Families of Altered Wars. Very excited to find this. This is something I've always wanted to get the whole series. I've got a few issues of this, 2 or 3 issues of this already from Tundra. This is for me, infamous Trailer Trash. Love, love, love these books. It's Roy Tompkins or Rob Tompkins. No, I think it's Roy. Yeah, Roy Tompkins. Very, very cool style. Really raunchy, undergroundy vibe to it. Just trashy, trashy goodness. But really glad to find an issue of this. That's the thing, going through these bins. You never know. Love that Swamp Thing. I have all the Bernie drawn issues. That's amazing, Rasa. And then in the back of this one, he's got some real and fake ads, even advertising what looks like a painting. Yeah, so that's very cool to find that. As usual, when I go, I always hope that I'll find a bunch of underground comics. Didn't happen, but I did find this single issue of Mystic Funnies, a $3.95 price tag. So that's a much later printing. Robert Crumb, there's the back cover of that one, in pretty nice shape. I think I have only have one issue of Mystic Funnies apart from this one. But yeah, his art is great. I just recently rewatched the Crumb documentary, and after not watching it for so long, it was great to see again, and really just hit home with just how fucking strange that whole goddamn family is. I used to have this when I was a wee lad, rip-off press. I'd like to start getting more of those old. I think some of the rip-off press stuff I got rid of a long time ago, and I'd like to get some of them back. So this is the Miami Mice comic from Rip-Off Press. It's the premiere issue, in case you didn't know. And then go to look at the back cover there. And that kind of unusual underground sized comic. Here's a quick look at the interiors. I remember loving this when I was a kid. Just nice to have a copy back for my kind of Rip-Off Press underground comics collection. It's not something I'm going to be jumping in to reread. Another 3D book with the glasses. Robotech 3D. A 3D book I do not have, or did not have until now. So yeah, we'll see what that looks like. Another one that Cartoonist Kayfabe have been talking about when they're talking about their Alan Moore. I used to have one of these. This issue here I had, but this is the 1963 series. I only found 3 issues, number 1, 2, and 5. I don't remember how many issues this series was. I don't remember if it was a 6 or a 12, but that's cool. I'd love to get my hands on the rest of these. Looks fantastic throughout. Big, bold, and colorful. So that was cool to find those 3. Kitchen Sink book I've never heard of. James Vance and John Garcia. Something called Owl Hoots. Not sure if it's where it's from or when it's from. Kind of a sepia-toned book there. Only 2 issues of this one I ran across, but looks pretty good. And again, for the price, you can't beat it. So that's issue number 1 and issue number 2 there. How can I say no to Whisper when there's issues that I don't have? I always got to pick them up. A single issue of Whisper. I once found a bag with all 6 issues of 1963. Can't believe I didn't buy it, and now that store doesn't exist anymore. Man, that's a bummer. That's the thing when I go to some of these places, some of the stuff that I put back, thankfully at this point, because there were so many comics, I don't remember the ones that I put back for the most part. But that's always the thing, right? Like, if I don't get this now, what if I never see it again, you know? Barbarians and Beauties from AC Collector Classics. Vintage artwork by Wally Wood, Sid Green, and John Guinta. Never seen this before, so figured let's do it. What does it have? Captain Science, Crom the Barbarian, and the Flame Goddess. So that'll be a fun one. Dick Tracy Monthly from Blackthorn. This is number 10. The only issue of this that I saw, but always worth checking out. Some Dick Tracy for that Chester Gould art. The only issue I needed from this mini-series, Open Space, from M Graphics. Why am I blanking? Malibu? Is it Malibu? Oh no, it's Marvel. Never mind. Marvel Graphics. So this is the issue 1 of that mini series that I found recently. I found every other issue but number 1. So this was the only one in the boxes. They didn't have any of the other ones. It must be a sign. Again, it's not something that there's some of the art that looks very cool. This story in particular looks like it might be interesting. I haven't started in on any of the other issues yet, so now that I've got them all, it'll go to the near the top of my to read pile to see what this one's about. Who do we have? Bill Ray. That must have been Bill Ray. No. Yeah, art and colors, Bill Ray. There you go. Script by Harry G. Stein and Kurt Busiek. Oh, and letters by Starkings. Isn't that Richard Starkings? Isn't he from Elephant Man? There you go. There's another one of the stories there. So that's cool. Have that entire series. I'm in the last couple of books here. Another one that I saw on Cartoonist Kayfabe. I'm not a Ninja Turtles. I'm not a big Ninja Turtles fan. I don't dislike them either. It's just not something that I've ever really did a deep dive into. But they've shown off some issues, Rick Veitch issues, that I would really love to see. And this was another one that they showed off in Open Space number 0. Thanks a lot, Paolo. You just ruined my day. It came out packaged with an issue of Wizard, I see, and featured an Alex Ross story that was scheduled for Open Space but not published. Okay, thanks very much. I'll keep my eyes open for that one. They focused on this one too in their Ninja Turtle spotlight. And when they showed the interior artwork, I had to find it. I think it was only 2 issues. Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, Russ, I'm not. I don't dislike it. I've just never really been heavy into it. I do remember when it was coming out, and I did have a couple of issues way back in the day. So this is story and art by Michael Zulli, and the art in this one is just, it's really, really fantastic. I really, really like it a lot. So it looks like because they've gone for so long, they've done kind of what I love, let's give our characters to a bunch of different creators and let them do what they want with them, which is very exciting. There was like 5 issues of this exact same one in those boxes. I have another issue of this A1. This is issue number 2 of this A1 anthology from Epic. I think I only have one other issue of it anyway. So this one, George Pratt, Steve White, Hunt Emerson, Pete Milligan, Philip Bond, Jamie Hewlett, etc., etc. So that'll be fun. And last but certainly not least, I'm 95% sure I don't have this one. This issue of Strontium Dog number 2, or at least, well, I don't know. We'll find out. I love these reprints of this UK stuff. What is this? Quality Comics. And I love it because of the coloring on the inside. I don't know, man. There's something about, I don't know how they colored it. I don't know how they reproduced this. I love the rounded corner panels. I love everything about these reprints of these UK stories. But the colors just blow me away in this. I really, really enjoy it. So that was very cool. They had a load of Judge Dredd and some Judge Anderson as well, which I didn't dig into because that was when I was kind of halfway through the row and I didn't want to just load myself up with a bunch of stuff. Again, because I was on a budget, I didn't want to load myself up with a bunch of stuff that I would have to then cull from the pile afterwards. The cartoon for TMNT is what made me so into them. Yeah, that was a great comic. I agree with you. I still read new TMNT. Yeah, and I mean, I always end up flipping through them. And actually, since the Cartoons Kayfabe has started talking about the series again, I've looked through the hardcover versions again with just kind of renewed interest, which is the joys of, it's something we've all talked about before, especially those of us who have kind of come up in this, our little corner of the comic book YouTube world here. There's something when you find a real quality channel with people who just love talking about these books and love sharing their knowledge of these books. I don't know, it makes you look at things in a completely different way. So I mean, since watching those videos, when I flip through Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I'm just reminded, I see it differently now. And I mean, it's not like I ever forgot how groundbreaking that series was for them and just for comics in general. For sure, it was a huge impact. There's apparently a documentary on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well there, Rasa. I don't know if that's something that you've seen. Um, I don't think it's called Turtle Soup. I don't remember what it's called, but they talk about it in one of the videos as well too. I would love to see it, just to see. It really talks about how they started, what happened when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles hit, and where they went from there. Um, Fascinating stuff, and I mean, it's got its own style for sure when you look through those early issues. I just love the idea that these creators are kind of getting other creators still to this day to tell their stories of the characters in their own. You've seen it. That's cool. I'd love to see it. I had a look for it online. I couldn't find. I found a couple of torrent links to it, but it wasn't. There was like one person sharing, so it just tried to connect for like 24 hours. Jackio, I'm excited to watch the Tim Vigil shoot tomorrow. You and me both, my friend. That's going to be a hell of an episode. What'd they say? I think they have like a 2-hour interview with him or something. It's going to be amazing. I cannot wait to see it myself. But then I looked online, Rasa, to see if I could find a DVD copy of that doc, and it is out there. I just haven't placed the order for it. It would be something I wouldn't mind having and adding to the old comic book collection in general. That's it. That's what I got. I bought a couple of new comics, all-time comics, and of course I had to buy Silver Surfer Black. Have you seen this one, Rasa? Have you dug into this one, Paulo Costa? Any interest, Jack Yo? When I heard this one announced, an absolute no-brainer. The art, I don't know, did I talk about this in a video already? If so, whatever, I'm doing it again. Tradd Moore, his art is just fucking incredible. Like, it's really, really just beautiful stuff. Melty and surreal and warped. And the colors by Dave Stevens, right? Is that who's doing colors on this one? Yeah, Dave Stewart, sorry, Dave Stewart. And then to transition to pages like this. He did. Damien did a review. Okay, I'll have to check it out. I'm curious to see what he says about it. It's just beautiful. I haven't sat and read it yet. Like I said, it's been a bit of a busy week, but it's sitting right out here in the open. I cannot wait. Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. I've already, one of the guys at one of the comic shops that I go to, I've already made him well aware. This will definitely be another one of those that I double dip when it comes out in a trade form or a hard, preferably a little bit of an oversized hardcover. You ordered it but didn't receive it yet, Rasa. Silver Surfer Black was a good read. The art made it a must-buy. Yeah, that was the same with me. If the story is great on top of it, even more of a bonus, but I'll be buying it purely based on the art. Right on. Thanks very much, everybody. That's it. That was Dark Phoenix. They're a Calgary. I think they have a physical store as well. Is it weird buying new comics? It was a little weird, and I mean, actually, maybe weird isn't the word for it. It was kind of cool to buy the new comics. The thing that looks like I have a hole in my head there. The thing that was strange about the experience for me was that looking through those racks and especially looking through the independent stuff, holy shit, that looks good. Holy shit, that looks good. Holy shit, I'd like to read that. I want that. You know, it's really difficult. There's a lot of really great stuff coming out, especially independent wise, that I would love to dive in. It's just I cannot. I just can't justify that weekly expense. You know what I mean? Like even as it is, I'm trying really hard to cut down on just back issue buying in general, right? Which has varying degrees of success. But I mean that commitment to every week of buying new books is just something I can't get back into. That doesn't mean that it's not difficult. And it's really difficult when I go and have a look through the new comic book rack because I want to find something like that all time, like looking for this one in the racks. You know what I mean? So yeah, glad I caught you at a good time. It's dinner time over here, so I'm off. Catch you later. Thanks very much, Paolo. I appreciate everybody hanging out. At some point, I don't know if I'll do it right after this. I might film it and then just upload it. I wanted to talk about this Jose Larraz box set that I got recently, 3 films. I just finished watching the last one last night. I had some things I wanted to say about it, so I thought maybe this would be a good one to do a video about, just to kind of talk a little bit European, I don't know, erotica, basically. But a hell of a box set, some incredible films. So maybe I'll film that right after and then upload it. In the meantime, thanks very much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Nice to see you all. Thanks for coming to hang.